Microphone? Yes. Okay, go ahead and welcome everybody to the November 18th meeting of the Town of Cumberland Planning Board. So I'll call the meeting to order, and Lorraine is absent tonight, and the rest of us are here. First item will be the approval of the minutes of the August 19th, 2005 meeting. So I'll entertain a motion of approval or amendment.
I make a motion we approve the minutes as written.
Second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? And it's approved. Looks like we have no staff site plan approvals. Looks like we have no minor change approvals, so we'll move right into the hearings and presentations. And our first item is a public hearing to review and make a recommendation to the Town Council regarding amendments to the Cumberland Code of Ordinances, Chapter 315-13, the Office Commercial Zone South, also known as OC-S. Bridget?
Sure. So in the workshop that we had with Town Council on October 27th, I made the recommendation that we pilot the LD 1829 changes in one zone, OCS, Office Commercial South. And so that's what you're seeing here. You've got the redlined and then a clean version with all the changes in it. So it's up to the planning board to discuss if there's anything else that you'd like to see in there or removed or have any questions.
Just to, before we do that, just the first line is the purpose of the OCS district is the new language will be the purpose of the OCS district is to allow mixed-use and high-density residential development. All development with lot frontage on Route 1 of this zone is encouraged to be consistent with the Route 1 design guidelines. Site plan review, Chapter 229, and approval by the planning board are required except for home daycare and bed and breakfast with 3 or fewer guest bedrooms. So it's going to substantially increase the uses in that district. Is it possible to put up the map of the OCS district so at least the three folks that are here have some idea of where it is?
Yes. This mouse is not very exciting.
So that, as you can see, is the lower portion of Route 1 to the Falmouth line. Note, it is within the Foreside growth area, and it is served by water and sewer. So with that, questions or comments from the board? Josh?
So first, Bridget, why are we changing the purpose? I mean, that isn't, we don't have to change the purpose of the zone for the sake of LD 1829, correct?
No, we don't. I thought that with 1829, it kind of does change the purpose of that zone.
But that, it changes the use of that zone, but it may or may not change what our desired purpose is.
Right.
And I'm not against changing the purpose, but that is a separate decision from 1829. And then I think in that, the sentence that starts with all development with lot frontage on Route 1, shouldn't that be all commercial development? Because we're not going to require residential uses unless they're, are we? We're not going to,
We required the mark to meet design standards.
yeah, but that's, is that a residential or commercial? I guess what I'm saying is if we have a single-family house or we have a single residential lot that has up to 4 units on it, I don't think we're going to make them go through site plan review. Is that a correct statement?
You're talking about site plan review or Route 1 design guidelines?
Well, it also
Oh,
says,
right.
and approval by planning board are required except for home daycare and bed and breakfast with 3 or fewer guest bedrooms. So that makes no exception for small residential use.
Okay.
And then my assumption is that this is sort of a pilot for the changes that are going to be incorporated into all the zones, correct?
Yes.
Okay. When do we have to make all those changes by?
July 1st, 2026.
Thank you.
Stacy, do you have a question?
No.
Oh. Yes, David?
I do. My question revolves around the all facilities shall be connected to public water and sewer systems. If we already have water and sewer there, what situation would we not have water and sewer connected to any new facilities?
Someone could come in and not want to pull sewer to a site. So this would require them, because of the density that is drafted in here, that LD 1829 requires. We're just stating it. That they can't just be on a septic and have this, get this density.
Well, this is redlining it out, though. This says all facilities shall be connected, and it's redlined out.
What page?
It's old 6B.
So old 6B refers to just residential care facilities. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
it's removing the requirement for them to be connected to public water and sewer, but they're going to have to be connected to public water and sewer to get the density. So I crossed out the subsection of residential care facilities.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions from the board? Hearing none, I'll open up the public hearing, and is there anybody from the public that wants to comment on this? Hearing none. I will. Yes.
Good evening, I'm Nina Weil. I work for Hebert Development, and I'm here representing the owners of approximately 30 acres in this zone that we're talking about, the OCS zone. And we just wanted to say that we're in support of the changes that the town staff has submitted. It'll allow us to help create housing for Cumberland's working middle class. We're not building affordable housing, but we want to bring down that median home income range of, I think, $809,000 was the recent number I saw in Cumberland, and try to find a place for homeowners who are firefighters, municipal employees, and the staff of our client's new veterinarian hospital just over the town line on the Cumberland, or the Falmouth side of the property. These density provisions in the amendments particularly the reduced setbacks and the streamlined lot standards, make it financially feasible to build housing at this rate. Otherwise, it really just doesn't pencil. Secondly, we are excited about these changes because it will allow us to bring needed commercial services into Cumberland. The expanded permitted uses, including things like restaurants, cafes, grocery stores, and athletic facilities, combined with the mixed-use provisions, allow us to create the vibrant, walkable neighborhoods that we're trying to create, and that can be a walkable community within Cumberland. As you know, as residents, you often have to drive to neighboring communities for your basic services and amenities, and we'd like to bring some of those here to Cumberland, and these amendment changes will allow us in a much more reasonable way to be able to do that. And lastly, these changes align with smart growth principles that benefit the entire community, encouraging higher density and mixed-use development allows us to bring the kind of development that the comprehensive plan in Cumberland calls for. We want to bring concentrated growth in designated areas, protecting resources and creating diverse housing options for Cumberland. So while these amendments can be positive for developers, they're certainly good for all of Cumberland and help address the housing crisis, bring desired amenities closer to residents, and create the kind of complete livable neighborhoods that make a community thrive. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I'm Robert Knupp. I live at Four Eagles Way in a little condo area called Hawks Ridge, which is directly across from the area that this person just talked about. My concern in this area, what did you call it, the Foreside growth area? Yes, it is growth. And it's growth mostly of a commercial nature. The only way that traffic stops on Route 1 going towards Yarmouth and towards Falmouth is Johnson Road with a red light. It's the only thing that breaks up traffic. There is no way to break up traffic coming down from Yarmouth to the Johnson Road area. Why do I say this? I say this because every time we change the zoning to encourage more development in the area that the woman talked about, which has been identified over the years as a, contract zoning area, is that what it's called? I seek help on that, but I know that there have been at least a dozen changes to that since David Chase and his partner first came to this town and asked for changes to be made. What is the current zoning for the area that this person is talking about? Can somebody tell me?
Bridget?
The current zoning is Office Commercial South.
And does that zoning permit the kind of development such as shops and so forth?
Yes.
Then why do we seek a change?
Well-
That's beyond me. It seems to me that if the zoning permits what is being sought, there's no reason for this board to even consider changing that zoning to anything else less restrictive or more restrictive. My point being that I'm concerned about the ever-growing traffic on Route 1. Those of us who have to use Route 1 on a daily basis to get to and from appointments and other things are now more frustrated than ever. The veterinary center has increased traffic tremendously. And the traffic that it's done with the concrete processing plant, whatever it's called, Lakeside something, is not that bad a problem. But you're really, what you're doing is you're overloading an area with development and traffic problems. Now, I know this is not the time for anybody to consider a traffic study. And Lord go, we know that there have been enough traffic studies, but it's just a common sense conclusion that all of you must know that any time that you make a change to encourage more development in this area, you're adding more traffic to a very bad problem. I know our past manager finally did get the speed zone reduced from 50 to 45 miles an hour in the area that we're in. But I can tell you that people coming down from Yarmouth are not obeying the 45-mile-an-hour speed limit. So we have a growing problem in our area. It's never going to change unless somebody says, enough, enough, enough. We've had enough development in this area of an intense nature that we don't need any more. Thanks for listening to me.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to comment? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the board.
Bridget, I think this is an unknown, or the answer to this question may be unknown, given 1829, along the lines of what happens with lots in approved subdivisions. What about lots in zones that where residential use would be non-conforming? Does 1829 allow for residential
So,
dwelling units regardless of the underlying zone?
yes. And in fact, it demands that municipalities allow residential uses in strictly commercial zoning, and suggests that it would also be okay for municipalities to add residential uses to industrial zones. So in an existing commercial zone where Cumberland currently has it restricted to commercial uses only, the state says no in 1829.
Okay, so basically, all the residential, the added uses that have to do with residential are mandated by 1829. We
Yes.
don't really have a choice. So we're adding restaurants, cafes, grocery stores, and markets as possible uses
Yes,
at our discretion.
yes.
And pretty much everything else in here, except for the statement of purpose at the start, is mandated by 1829. And then some language
I-
cleanup in regards to.
There's some language cleanup, and then there's lot standards that I did research on to develop based on 1829, and what I have found in other ordinances is reasonable. Like when we reduce lot sizes to 5,000 square feet, we can't have 100-foot setbacks. So we've changed the setbacks to make them make sense. Not that they have them, they had 25 feet. So we've gone down to 15 feet, we've gone down to 9 feet on the side setback, and we've also allowed for a common wall of 0 feet. So that would be a townhouse development.
Okay. 1829 doesn't mandate that we have small lot sizes, correct? It just means that I think it means
we
you can
can't
have
have-
lots, but you can mandate larger lots, I think.
Not
but you
outside
have
of a
to-
growth area.
I thought it was that you had to allow for a number of units, not on the lot size, but the minimum.
It
Is
does that too.
Okay.
So in a growth area with sewer and water, the state says that a municipality cannot impose a lot size greater than 5,000 square feet.
Okay. The lot size, not the amount of space required for a dwelling unit.
Correct.
Okay.
Then
So-
also, Josh, that that there are the density bonuses for.
For affordable, right.
For affordability. But, anybody else, Bob?
I'm wondering if we're talking about 1829, we're talking about some stuff that maybe people in the audience and people watching may not understand, that there are some new state laws that we're going through and required to adhere to, and that a lot of these changes have been initiated by the state to the towns. And so what's happening in this process is we're trying and have to adhere to a bunch of ordinances by July 1st next year. So this is the beginning of that process, and I'm not sure if we shouldn't maybe talk about that a little bit up front so people understand, because I think Josh is kind of knows exactly what he's talking about, and maybe the audience doesn't have a good understanding of the whole overview.
Are we playing a little inside baseball?
Well, I think it's interesting that the town council has had a couple of public hearings on this. There has been nothing in the Press Herald, they seem to be more interested in an election 12 years out, or 12 months out. Basically, it's this. If you live in a growth area, and in Cumberland, we have 3 of them. We have West Cumberland, we have the center growth area, and we have the Foreside growth area. Within a growth area, if the lots, if the area is served by water and sewer, the minimum lot size can now be 5,000 square feet. So, for instance, given the fact that an acre is about 43,000 square feet, you can theoretically, on an acre of land, have somewhere between 6 and 8 houses. And if they're affordable, there is a density bonus. So this has got huge implications, and then not on water and sewer, and not in a growth area. The lot size is what, Bridget?
Underlying zoning would apply.
Excuse me?
Underlying zoning would apply. So outside of a growth area, off of sewer and water, RR1, R2 would still stay the same. So we're allowed, we still have that control.
So it's, the key is really the growth areas. Now, if it's a growth area, i.e. West Cumberland, that's served by water and not sewer, and it's a growth area, what is the minimum lot size there?
About a half an acre, 20,000 square feet.
Okay. So this has, as you can imagine, we have, what, Bridget, something like 12 within the center growth area. We have 12 lots, or is it 12 lots that are 15 acres.
Oh, no.
No,
Maybe one lot that's about 15 acres in town center.
okay.
The town center has smaller lot sizes. Most of them are non-conforming with our existing zoning ordinance. So say 1 acre in town center, you would get something that looks like the Village Way development
So it
under LD 1829.
So it does have huge implications, and one that was discussed the other night is that right now, Tuttle Road is served by water and sewer. Right now, it's a force main, which means that I think Vining Way is the only development that is hooked onto the sewer, but it is possible that Tuttle Road could come under some portions of this. Is that correct, Bridget?
Yes, and we have questions into the state to clarify.
Yeah. So this has not received a lot of attention, but it has got huge implications. The other thing is that right now we have a limitation of 65 units that we can build a year in our ordinance. We have never met that because we exempt 55 and older developments. So Crossing Brook, which has over 100 units, is 55 and older and age restricted, so that that does not come under the ordinance, but
Cumberland Crossing.
Cumberland Crossing.
Right,
said
not
Crossing
Crossing
Brook.
Brook.
Oh, sorry. There's a lot of crossings in town. Then the other thing is that we cannot restrict the number of units built anymore. In other words, right now it's 65. but under LD 1829. So you can see that there are huge repercussions. There are, it's the old law of unintended consequences that it's certainly that we want to encourage housing. Now, regarding to the traffic, that's a legitimate thing, and it's one of the now 22 standard conditions of approval that this would be a large enough development that it would require a traffic study, and if that indicated a heavier level, then mitigation efforts would be required. So are there any other comments from the board on this? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I will make a motion that we recommend to town council the proposed changes with minor adjustments to exempt certain residential development from site plan review and the Route 1 design standards to the Office Commercial South Zoning District in order to be compliant with LD 1829.
Second?
Second.
Okay, got a second from Bob. Further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? It's approved. Item number 2 is to review and make a recommendation to the town council regarding amendments to the Cumberland Code of Ordinances, Chapter 315, 39, domesticated chickens. Bridget. The chicken ordinance.
The chicken ordinance, mostly housekeeping, really. There is a state driver for me looking at the chicken ordinance, and it did prompt me to go into some other localities, some of our neighbors' ordinances to see what they do. So, like the odor and manure management piece, I borrowed that from one of our neighbors, I think Yarmouth. And so that's the cleanup. That's the cleanup there. Reviewed these with Bill Longley, our code enforcement officer, and he's on board.
Questions from the board?
Yep.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
That's fine.
Should we just replace the word chicken with hen everywhere? Because we really don't allow chickens. We really only allow hens. That would be really a lot easier, I think, than saying, but you can't have male chickens. And sometimes we use hen and sometimes we don't. In the definitions, we have a chicken pen, which is an enclosure connected to a hen house, and then we have an enclosure that's the combined area of a hen house and a chicken pen, which seems to be a little circular. I think we just need, in the chicken pen, an enclosure is not a capital E enclosure, but I think it's still confusing, and maybe we just have to say an enclosed area or something, but I don't think we can use a definition that's
Got it.
a word that's a definition that's contradictory to how it's used in the definition of another word. In C1, we have no more than 6 chickens shall be allowed per lot under 1 acre, but we never say what can happen on a lot over 1 acre or equal to 1 acre.
I think that's where state law comes in, and they're not restricted. You're not restricted to how many you have.
Well, then I think we just need to have a statement somewhere for lots over 1 acre. There are no restrictions on keeping chickens.
Okay.
'Cause to me,
no
this
restrictions
is.
on the number of chickens you're allowed to keep.
What's that?
There's no restrictions on the number of chickens you're allowed to keep? Because
I don't
we
know.
would still enclose, we would still,
So
We
what
wouldn't,
you're
I
saying
guess-
is all of the other conditions would still apply. You can't have free range on over over an acre. So if that's
you
the case, I
can't-
think it has to say,
Can have-
for lots under for lots under 1 acre, no more than six chickens shall be allowed. For lots greater than equal to or greater than 1 acre, there is no restriction on the number of chickens in C sub 1. And then all of the other restrictions that follow would still apply for all lots, not just lots under 1 acre. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that makes sense because if you're domesticated chickens, there's also like chicken farming is a separate thing. Under
Domesticated hens?
domesticated hens. Sorry, is that
I think I use chickens too, so I won't hold it against you.
the Is everyone on board with that? This is the language from LD 1655 is in quotes in my memo there. So the state does refer to them as chickens, but then it does clarify that chickens are female domesticated birds. So
I'm not sure I want to get into a gender study. That seems to be
if
controversial these
hens
days.
is
Well,
if
the
hens-
rooster thing is, it's a nuisance, a noise nuisance. That has
Yeah.
to be the reason for that, so.
Yeah.
um,
so we'll change chickens to hens.
Can you have, it does refer to female chickens, I guess. Can you have neutered male chickens?
I don't think it matters. I think they're
Doesn't-
pretty.
They
I
make
think
just as much
I think
noise if they're
they're
neutered.
and they're generally more aggressive. Is what
Right.
I've learned. People don't usually want them, except for on a farm. Is what I've come to learn.
Stacy?
I apologize.
No.
Currently, if we are over 1 acre, before LD 1829 or whatever it is that precipitated these changes about hens, did we not have a certain bar in terms of there was a certain restriction on the number of chickens you could have somewhere in town? I believe we
did, but you can see what the old language, it was no more than 6 chickens shall be allowed
Right.
per single-family detached dwelling property, and no chicken shall be permitted within multifamily complexes, including duplexes.
Right, and
Was-
I'm missing some language there, I guess, that I just thought that we did have restrictions over, you can't fill, if it's just over, or rather over 1 acre, you can't bring 500 chickens into your backyard, or you can. I know we have no restriction on goats. Just,
We're going by the state law that says
Yeah.
we may not adopt a regulation or ordinance that prohibits a person from keeping chickens on that person's residential property.
Right, but I think what she's asking is, if you have a 2-acre lot,
Yeah.
right.
can you keep an unlimited number of hens?
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good,
I think at a certain number of hens, it becomes then you're farming them, and they're not domesticated for personal use.
But we should have that should be in here somewhere.
yeah.
I feel like it's in here.
And not to throw a wrench in things, but I think if the state verbiage is around chicken, we may want to keep it as chicken as opposed to switching to hen.
I'm gonna leave that up to the board.
Yeah, it does say only hens are permitted.
Right, I mean,
Right.
yeah, I mean, I think by saying chickens all over the place, but then saying you can't keep chickens, you have to keep a subset of chickens being hens, not chickens.
Right, it says no roosters.
I mean, if we're violating state law by saying chickens, but then saying you can't keep chickens, you can only keep hens, then replacing chickens with hens is no more of a violation. And it's at least clear. Now we just know we're violating it, if we're violating it.
Well, on the other hand, if you change it to hens and you're only dealing with hens in this rule, does that like leave the non-hens kind of out there?
Roosters.
I'm
Well,
not gonna touch this
we-
line with a 10-foot pole.
We currently don't allow roosters,
Roosters.
right?
Currently, it's 2 acres and under need a permit, and they can only keep 6 hens.
That's currently 2 acres. Going to 1.
So above 6, you need a license?
If your lot is under 2 acres, you need an annual chicken permit.
And
you
then
see
how,
me for that.
what's the break point between domesticated chickens and commercial chickens? Do you have one? It would be simple to say, hey, above this number, you need a license and you're a commercial chicken place.
Well, the license is for under 2 acres, non-commercial, just as it is right now.
So Bridget, should we change the 1 acre to 2 acres in that C1? Because right now we have a gap between 1 acre and 2 acres.
But you can have more than 6, you just have to have a permit.
Not under 2 acres.
For under 2,
Not, well, as I've suggested it right now, not under 1 acre.
not under 1, right? Okay.
You can't have any more than 6. I mean, we can remove the restriction altogether. I mean, I
Well, I just-
personally know that there are homes in town that are under 1 acre that have more than 6 chickens.
Right.
And they also have chickens walking
Or-
around.
And we
too,
have
right?
roosters.
Yeah, and
as
you
well,
can. Chickens
so-
must be secure at all times and may not trespass or free range onto other people's property, is
Gotcha,
the
okay.
enclosure piece here.
So where do we want to go on this? Hens
can-
are not a hill that I need to die on, but I'm, I'm flexible on this one. Lead us on,
If
lead
it-
us out of this.
If it says no roosters, I think that it should be as clear as possible, and maybe perhaps using the word hens does clarify that. I'm not trying to create more housekeeping for you, Bridget.
Oh, that's fine.
I'm in an area where I'm have a unique perspective on chickens and how many there are, and so I'm just wondering, this still leaves us with a situation where we have no guidelines for how many chickens, how many hens you may or may not have if you have
More than
over 1 acre.
Right.
And it,
Chris-
like anything else, we'll run into a problem immediately just because if there aren't restrictions, that it's
Christina,
human.
can you tell me again so you can, if you have over 2 acres and you want more than 6 chickens or hens, whatever, you can go get a permit to do so.
No, the permit is only required for lots under 2 acres and allows them to keep only up to 6 hens. And if you're 2 acres or over, I don't have any ordinance that restricts that. There may be state law, but I'm not familiar with.
So if you have under 1 acre and you want to keep 5 chickens, are you covered by this ordinance now, or would you still need to go get a permit?
You still need to get a permit.
Okay.
Anything,
I was thinking-
So,
any chickens, 1 chicken. and
You need a permit.
Own under 2 acres, you need a permit.
okay,
Gotcha.
so then I think we ought to change in C1 to shall be allowed per lot under 2 acres to be consistent with the permitting process. Because otherwise, somebody's going to say, well, I've got 2 acres and
Yeah,
Thank you.
that makes sense.
Do you want to entertain upping the limit of chickens from 6 then to 12?
No,
I don't care about entertaining that.
6,
Anyone else?
6.
Anyone
6.
want more than
It
6?
Yeah.
wouldn't bother me either way.
Okay, so I'll take a stab at this.
Public hearing.
Oh,
Yep.
thank you.
Long way to
yes,
go here, too.
I'll open the public hearing for anybody that wants to comment on this.
Your
I
cane
don't
language.
see a rush from the public with cudgels and pitchforks, so I'll close the public hearing and I'll entertain a motion.
I will make a motion that we recommend to town council to approve the amendments as written and amended by discussion at this meeting to Cumberland Code of Ordinances, Chapter 315-39, domesticated chickens/hens.
Here a second?
Second.
Is seconded. Further discussion?
Well, okay, I'm a little
Dan?
confused then.
Yeah.
So what changes are we making?
2 acres in hens, right?
Yeah.
Hens, okay.
And no
Hens are 1 acre to
restrictions?
2 acres and chickens to hens.
Yeah, I kind of like, I mean, if you change chickens, I think it should, that language should stay the same, but I'm okay if you want to change it. So the 1 acre goes to 2 acres, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're doing hens,
And we're not saying anything about over 2 acres.
right.
Or roosters.
Or, no, we do say something
We
about
do say-
There's no
Yeah, there's no roosters.
Yeah.
Where does it say that? It's just, oh, because it
Um,
says only hens are permitted.
Right.
Under hen house, a structure for shelter. Oh, but that's only under the structure.
Oh, that says no roosters there.
Right, but we don't
Well,
say.
once we change chickens to hens, then there are no roosters
no
allowed.
roosters.
Well
You're not
put.
allowed to have a
Well put.
rooster.
It's
You're
implied.
only allowed to have hens.
And no, hens don't have any pronouns, is that correct? Okay, I'm ready we ready for a vote? All in favor? Opposed? We've got 5 in favor and 1 opposed. Okay, moving on. Item 3, to review and make a recommendation of the town council regarding to amendments to the Cumberland Code of Ordinances 315-40 back lots and 315-51 guest houses. Bridget?
As you can see, I'm recommending that we repeal both of these ordinances because we don't use them and don't think that we need them going forward. We, the code enforcement officer, and I.
Okay, comments from the board? Hearing none, I'll open the public hearing. Anybody wish to comment on this? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing, and what's the wish of the board?
I will make a motion that we recommend to town council to repeal chapters 315-40 and 315-51 of the Cumberland Code of Ordinances.
Okay, any further, do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
I have a second by Ann. Further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Then it's passed. Moving on to item 4, a public hearing to review and make recommendations to the town council regarding amendments to the Cumberland Code of Ordinances, Chapter 315-44, multiplex dwellings. Bridget?
So these revisions are really driven by 1829, which has said that you can't impose any different restrictions on multiplex buildings than you can on a single-family detached dwelling. So we did, in our ordinance, have some different requirements that we were holding for multiplex dwellings, which the state has now made not legal, so we changed that. The other thing that we had done earlier this year, or within the last year and a half, is that I crossed out the no dwelling unit should have less than 600 square feet because we changed the definition of dwelling unit to remove that square footage requirement. And then I've also made the open space match what we have in conservation and clustered subdivision requirements for multiplex dwellings.
Okay, questions from the board? Hearing none, I'll open the public hearing. Is there anybody in the public wishing to make, yes? Oh, why don't you come to the, after Denny, come up and we'll answer your questions. Yeah, Denny.
Hi, Denny Gallaudet, 67 Range Road, I live in RR1. Peter, I'd like you to elaborate further on the growth cap. I think you implied that the growth cap is eliminated completely, the 65 that we have. And my understanding, it's eliminated only in the growth areas, which are 25% of the land area of the town. So that, to me, means 75% of the area remaining does have a growth cap. Or
Bridget?
the growth cap still applies.
Any comment on that, Bridget?
Yeah, I think that's correct, Denny.
Yeah, and I just like to, I just like to, it seems like that's going to have very significant implications, because you're gonna have 25% of the town that can build whatever they want. Supposing they build 100 units, will the town council say, well, that's great, we'll let people build another 65 on top of that? Probably not. So I think you're going to, this is one of the great defects, I think, of 1829, for the growth areas to not have any rules. It's, to me, having been on the school board, it's an unfunded mandate, because, you know, the state says you can add as many houses as you want, but who's going to school them? And we don't, you know, we don't have any extra acreage for schools. So I think the interaction between the growth cap, which has worked well for us over the years, as has been pointed out, and we jog along at 30 or 40, not including the 55 and up, I've been very comfortable with it. But that's going to be blown right out of the water by this effort. And I personally am going to be lobbying at Augusta to eliminate that, because it just wasn't thought through.
Right.
And I think they must not have really understood what they were talking about.
Thank you, Denny. Yes, sir.
My only question was, listening to the discussion, 1829 becomes effective July 1st, 2026, is that correct?
That is correct.
So if you're changing something now in anticipation of that taking place, why would you do it now and not wait until it takes place? That's my question.
Well, I think in this particular area, that, you know, kind of the objectives that we're looking at for more commercial and also encouraging housing, that this seems to be an area that, irregardless, because I think if it didn't go into a contract, I mean, right now, they could have, the town council could do a contract zone and do pretty much what we're proposing in the ordinance change. So this, I think the thought is that this would be an area irregardless where either through a contract zone or this, that there is going to be some kind of development there. So that's why I don't think on the rest of the area that the current plan right now, and even with the comprehensive plan, that I think that we may draft some sample ordinances and keep them in our pocket and wait and see if the legislature makes any changes next April. But I think the feeling was that in this particular area, it might be applicable irregardless.
Okay. I think I follow that. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bridget, don't some of the provisions roll out faster, sooner as well?
Yes, there's some that are effective, that were effective September 24th, and that's what I'm looking up right now.
I also think from a practical standpoint that we only have, what, 6 or 7 potential meetings between now and July 1st to get a bunch of work done. That, you know, it's not just this one thing tonight. There's a bunch of other zones that have to be reworked.
And I think, again, I think what we're going to be doing is, you know, we're not going to put our heads in the sand, but we'll have kind of sample ordinances so that we make tweaks after the thing, but we're not saying, well, we don't agree with the thing and we're not gonna do anything. We'll, at least like tonight, trying to do other things. So are we ready to, I'll close the public hearing. Are we ready for a motion?
Which one are we on now?
Number 4.
Number 4.
Number 4.
The multiplex dwellings?
Yeah.
I will make a motion that we recommend to town council to make the presented amendments to the Cumberland Code of Ordinances, Chapter 315-44, multiplex dwellings.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Further discussion?
Okay, I have one question. Now, these have been reviewed by the code enforcement officer. Have our town attorneys also, did he then discuss them with the town attorney, or?
She has not reviewed these. Nope.
No, is there a plan to have any reviewed by our town attorney?
If you would like a town attorney review, then yes, we can do that.
Well, maybe that's something we should talk about. At what point, I mean, they have been giving us guidance on this, obviously, and we've got their memos and so on.
Well, I don't think, before the council takes a look at it, it probably wouldn't hurt for the attorney to just take a look at it. So when the council reviews these things, they know that the attorney's taken a look at it.
Yeah, so we can approve this, and then you can show it to the town attorney.
Just this one?
Well,
No,
All of them?
all of them.
Okay.
And we can't approve it. We can
What?
only recommend approval.
Right.
well, okay, that's what I meant.
Yeah. No,
That's
but
what I meant to say.
that's actually a good, that's actually a good point. So anyway, I think we've got moved and seconded, so all in favor? Opposed? Okay, moving onward to, so that's 5-1. Moving on to item 6, review and make a
Nope. Nope, 5.
I'm sorry.
Conversions.
Item 5, a public hearing to review and make a recommendation to the town council regarding amendments to the Cumberland Code of Ordinances, Chapter 315-45, conversions. Bridget?
So this one is already effective in state law. So the red line here for ADU, accessory dwelling unit, must be allowed on a multifamily, as part of a multifamily structure. So that's new. And that is effective as of September from the state. The state also says that occupancy does not have to be the primary owner of the property. And then I've removed the performance standards because we lifted the dwelling unit square foot requirement earlier this year. And we're not allowed to restrict the lot size that an ADU can go on. So those, and then in my review with the code enforcement officer, he suggested that we rename the chapter just for ease of access to accessory dwelling unit and conversions. In section B, conversions, we don't call them manor houses, we just call them house conversions. State law, any single family dwelling can be converted to a multifamily structure. That's basically all the red lines there. That's it, period, end of sentence. And then condominium, a structure or property which is converted into 5 or more dwelling units must go to subdivision, and that's the new definition of subdivision by the state.
Questions or comments from the board? Josh?
So Bridget, and I believe the language reflects this, but just to make sure, duplex on a single lot, you can only have one ADU.
Correct.
Multiplex, same thing.
Yes.
It's basically like one ADU per lot, regardless of how many dwelling units.
Yes.
And then down in the conversions section, right now, I think after you accept the changes that have been made, it's gonna read, any single-family dwelling unit may be converted to a multifamily structure subject to the provisions of Chapter 250 subdivision of land. But it is right now, does Chapter 250, the subdivision of land, reflect the fact that if they convert it, a single-family dwelling unit, into 4 units or less, it's not subject to Chapter 250 or Section 250?
Our definition of subdivision references the state definition of subdivision as amended. So I think yes, but I can verify that and change this language.
Because if you do change a single-family house into 4 units, you would not be subject to subdivision.
Correct.
Under 1829.
Right.
And is that section, is that portion of 1829, has that already gone into effect?
I don't know.
Your memo says it goes in effect in July.
Okay, then it's July.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm looking through like my
So
memo.
then just one, perhaps inside, like my, intense focus on details. I might propose that we change it to say, rather than subject to the provisions of Chapter 250 subdivision of land, which to me then means you are subject to all of the provisions, maybe subject to the applicability and the provisions of Chapter 250 subdivision of land, because I'm assuming Chapter 250 defines when it is applicable and when it is not, and that's when it references the state definition of subdivision.
Okay.
Is that okay with the rest of the board? Any other questions or
and then-
comments? Oh, sorry.
Down below in condominium, any structure or property which is converted to 5 or more dwelling units in condominium ownership shall be considered a subdivision. Okay, yep. But really, that's any type of, do we need to change that language? Because it doesn't have to go into condominiums. If it's broken up to 5 or more, it's always going to be subject to Chapter 250 right now.
Correct.
But that's
But
probably
I-
captured up above, so, okay.
Yeah, and we just had this separate section in here for condominiums specifically. I mean, because those would be individual units being sold with a
Right.
land use agreement. So it's a little bit different than a conversion.
Okay, thanks.
Any other comments or questions from the board? I'll open up the public hearing. Does anybody in the public wish to comment on this? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing and send it back to the board for a motion.
I will make a motion that we make a recommendation to town council to approve amendments to the Cumberland Code of Ordinances, Chapter 315-45, conversions to include the title to be accessory dwelling unit and conversions as amended and as discussed tonight.
Do we hear a second?
Second.
That's moved and seconded. Further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? It's unanimous. Okay, moving on to item 6, a public hearing to review and make a recommendation to the town council regarding amendments to the Cumberland Code of Ordinances, Chapter 315-55, manufactured housing. Bridget?
So I'm recommending that we repeal Chapter 315-55 on manufactured housing after review of the state law around manufactured housing. I think we should fall back to the state and change our definition of manufactured housing to be as defined in the state chapter, which I've included in your packet.
Which is,
I've included the state law in your packet. So it's
Oh,
the regulation of manufactured housing.
okay.
It's in Title 30A, 4358.
Okay.
What we have in there is pretty restrictive language, and some of it, by my interpretation, is not legal. And so I think we fall to the state definition and uses of manufactured housing.
Well, the town attorney's gonna look at this to,
Yep.
to verify your interpretation. Any other comments from the board?
Just more out of maybe curiosity, I'm just curious why there has to be a shingled roof as opposed to excluding corrugated metal roofing. Because we had the same thing in ours before too, the one we did have, just.
Yeah.
Maybe
Right.
because in shipping it could get damaged, I don't know, it just,
Just from our current ordinance.
right.
Yeah, it's just one of those restrictive provisions in our ordinance.
Well, it's in the state one too.
Oh, okay. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Well, we got rid of our manufactured housing zones years ago, didn't we?
Yeah, because
Those were,
those were probably illegal. Yeah.
right. Okay, I'll open up the public hearing. Anybody? Denny?
Danny Gallaudet, 67 Range Road, RR1. And I'm just going to refer to what I've always understood living in RR1 applied. And that is H, 315-6H, manufactured housing and mobile homes in the mobile home park, the following uses are permitted in the RR1 district. So it has single-family homes, so on and so forth, and it includes manufactured housing and mobile homes in the mobile home park overlay zones as delineated on the official town zoning map, which is a very tiny parcel in RR1. So me and my neighbors have always felt that mobile homes in RR1 were restricted to that tiny zone, and this would completely eliminate that. Not that I'm against it, but that mobile homes could be put up anywhere in RR1 and RR2.
But I thought we eliminated, didn't we eliminate those? Because I remember that we had 3 of them. I think we had one at the fairgrounds, we had one kind of even at the end of Harris Road, I think. So
Yeah,
did those,
the state laws existed since 1989.
Are mobile homes different than manufactured housing?
They're all the same here. So mobile homes and manufactured housing, just, I'm using them interchangeably. If I'm switching back and forth at all, they're the same thing. My understanding of it is that the state law has allowed mobile homes, manufactured housing to be anywhere that a residential home is allowed to be.
but do we or do we not still have these overlay zones? Because we did have them at one time.
Well, I guess my
they don't
interpretation as a resident of RR1 is this is the current ordinance. And it says that it's not it's only a permitted use if it's in one of the overlay zones. And as there are no overlay zones, then manufactured housing can't be permitted in RR1 and RR2. And I presume that was a mistake, and we had bad legal counsel, and the state law overrides this. I'm not yea or against. I just like to know what the deal is for me as a landowner.
Well, actually, so would I. Bob?
I think there's a difference between mobile manufactured housing and mobile home park. And I think it's 3 lots or more consists of a common ownership, and you rent the lots out as a mobile home park. And I think manufactured housing or mobile homes, you can actually, I actually did a manufactured house on a lot over off of Tuttle Road. There was 2 pieces that came in. So there's different definitions about I don't know, what's manufactured, what's mobile home. Mobile home's basically the chassis is part of the foundation. For a manufactured house, they bring it in, usually set it with a crane and drop it in. And then a mobile home park, I think, is 3 or more, and that you can have different requirements for a mobile home park. I think what you guys are talking about is getting rid of mobile home parks, potentially, which is, because I think you can put a manufactured house on any residential lot, but I don't think you
Not
can.
according to our ordinance.
Well,
I'm pretty sure you
Not
can.
the way I read it.
I guarantee, because I used to work for a modular home company, and I guarantee you there are modular homes throughout Cumberland and,
I
but
did one.
it does, in the state in the state piece that Bridget put in here, it says mobile home park means a parcel of land under unified ownership approved by the municipality for the placement of 3 or more manufactured homes, so dang good job. So yes, a mobile home park is not a single manufactured home on a lot.
On a permanent foundation.
Well, this doesn't actually say anything about the foundations.
I
So
think that's one of the-
theoretically, even if you were dropping them on foundations, it
Yeah.
could be a mobile home park, which now does bring up a interesting conundrum with 1829. If you have a single lot and you put 4 manufactured housing units on it, are you now a mobile home park?
I think it matters if you sell them or you keep them or how it, you know. There's
Don't know.
variation
As long as you meet the
The
setbacks.
joys of 1829.
But
And
Bridget,
That's fair. I can ask the
Unified ownership, yeah.
state on that one. We do still have mobile home park overlays.
yeah, okay, yeah. So Denny is correct in that,
We have those overlays. However, state law still comes into play. If our zoning code is not up to date with the state, and the state says you can allow mobile homes or manufactured housing on any lot where residential uses are allowed, then what we have wouldn't matter.
Well, I think what you do, and I didn't grab my big binder, but I think the question is, if you look at RR1 or RR2,
Yeah.
does it allow for manufactured housing? Because there's a difference, again, between a mobile home park and a single.
It only allows manufactured housing and mobile homes in mobile home park overlay zones as delineated on the official town zoning map.
Okay.
However, the state would override that and allow it anywhere.
Well, we should probably clean that language up and.
right.
On
At
that.
Yeah,
some-
I didn't want
I know.
to do all zoning districts.
I get it.
No,
But-
but
I'm
but-
writing.
Put it on the list.
I'm putting on the
But
list.
Denny raised a good question, because I recall years ago, we had 3 of these zones. And so,
place that mobile home parks can go in R1 and R2. Our zoning says, apparently
Yeah.
that has been in conflict with state law. all
yeah,
these years.
so we need, we'll address that, but thanks for bringing it up, because I didn't think we'd done away with those 3 zones. So I'll close the public hearing, and are we ready for a motion?
I will make a motion that we recommend to town council to repeal chapter 315-55 manufactured housing from the Cumberland Code of Ordinances.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Ann. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? It's unanimous. Moving on to item 7, public hearing to review and make a recommendation to the town council regarding amendments to the Cumberland Code of Ordinances, chapter 315-57, parking and loading. Bridget?
So this is already a state law, LD 427. It was effective in September. So I simply added a use, residential in a designated growth area, and the minimum required parking spaces is 1 per dwelling unit.
So this is
Clean up,
Housekeeping.
compliance.
with the state law. Questions, comments from the board? Hearing none, I'll open up the public hearing. Hearing nothing, I'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the board. Are we ready for a motion?
I will make a motion that we make the recommended, I will make a motion that we recommend to town council to approve the amendments as presented to chapter 315-57, parking and loading of the Cumberland Code of Ordinances.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? It's unanimous. Moving on to the final item, public hearing, review and make a recommendation of the town council regarding amendments to the Cumberland Code of Ordinances, 315-4, word uses and definitions. Is this where our little friends, the hens, arrive again?
This is just gonna keep coming back, I think, to us for amendments as we change more and more zoning when comprehensive plan and all that comes out. We can look, I didn't see hens or, I didn't see chickens in here actually when we were talking about it earlier. So the majority of this is driven by new state law. I added state definitions of ADUs, accessory structures, accessory use, affordable, everything in the affordable here, affordable home ownership, affordable housing development, affordable rental unit. These are all state accepted definitions. I was not creative there, so just so you know where those came from. And then some of the recommendations that you've made earlier, we just need to clean up the definitions, remove backlot, guest houses, general cleanup, cellar. We don't use cellar in,
But we have them.
they're the same thing as basements, so we've now called them basements.
It's a Massachusetts thing, I think, Sella.
It has the exact
Okay,
same
let's
definition of basements. You can leave it in there if you want. I just was trying to clean up.
I was just being a wise, you know what?
I added commercial use, again, state definition of commercial use, dwelling unit attached. I changed that definition to be a little bit more specific. I changed the definition of dwelling unit.
Multifamily.
For the state, in accordance with the state definition.
Is that no more than 8? What does that mean?
Like townhouses, so no more than 8 side-by-side townhouses with
That's
0
wow.
setback. I throw 8 out there just based on some of the research that I've done and
Oh,
looking
okay.
at different townhouse type developments around, and was like, we generally in Cumberland with our design standards, we like to see things kind of broken up. So having more than 8 might just look like a wall and not really in our character.
Okay,
That's where that came from.
so that's not
We-
state law. That's
That is,
not
that
from
is
the
not,
state law.
that is not a state law. No.
Well, one thing on 1829 is as we go through the comprehensive plan process, that one thing that the council does have the power of, and that is that they can increase or decrease the geographic area of the growth area, am I correct? So there is the council does have some power as far as that's concerned, and that may be one thing that could come out of the comprehensive plan, that they could make recommendations on the growth area. But that is the one thing that the local people can control. Any other questions of
course.
Bridget? Yes.
Bridget, just a few things. A couple of them are just typos. An accessory structure or accessory use, I think the 5th line down, it starts with structure, and I don't think that S should be capitalized. the affordable home ownership unit, you got all those from the state definitions?
Yes.
Yeah, well, all right. Down in commercial use, it has the sort of the last little bit of that states, the rental of a single dwelling unit on a single lot or incidental sales of goods or services as may be allowed by permit or standard. We're now gonna allow, if you could have a single lot and you could put up to 4 units on it, and you're probably going to rent those out. By this, does that mean that's commercial use? I don't,
I don't think so.
is that gonna be, but my guess is that commercial use then restricts that more than LD 1829 is gonna want. So I'm wondering if that's gonna need to get changed at some point, but I'm fine with it right now. I thought there was one other little. Somewhere in here, I think there, in multifamily, right now, the last word of the first line says within on or more buildings.
Oh,
It's
sorry.
just missing a E.
You're in dwelling unit multifamily, right?
I think that's the last one I had, but maybe not. This
Wait,
is a
wait,
long
okay.
section.
Are you in
Multifamily, in the definitions.
all the way at M? Sorry.
It should be one or more, not on or more.
Got it. Thanks.
That's it.
Okay, any further questions from the board? Hearing none, I'll open the public hearing. Is there anybody in the public who wishes to comment on this item? And hearing none, I'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the board for a motion.
I will make a motion that we recommend to town council to make the proposed amendments to chapter 315-4 word usage and definitions to the Cumberland Code of Ordinances.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded. Further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? It's unanimous. Under administrative things, Bridget, do you have you heard anything on, because I think the public would be interested regarding the mark. Is there any kind of information at all on that?
I think that they're in the courts, the bankruptcy courts. So where we were hopeful that the sale would close, so the mark went to auction. It sold at auction for $15 million, and it was subject to the court's approval through the bankruptcy process, and I think they're stuck there.
So it's.
So it's, I think it's in the hands of the courts. So it
Okay.
may be a while before it's occupied.
Okay. Second thing, anything on the docket so far for December?
No, nothing. I left an hour early. I don't think we got anything in today. So today was the deadline for subdivisions and site plans. So we will not have a December meeting.
Okay.
I have a growing list that I'm tracking of potential developments. Nothing is ready at like a plan level yet. So
Okay.
we'll see what 2026 brings us.
So Merry Christmas, everybody.
Wait a second. That means no chocolate-covered pretzels.
There may be an elf delivery.
Oh,
Yeah, we may have to
I would
have
have brought a project forward.
Yeah, you need to schedule a minor ordinance change.
There will either be a drop-off or a come-see-me pickup.
Christina, you can ignore me. Most people do.
Okay, anything else that needs to be brought before the board? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.